Hello. I ask you to forgive my intonation. I came to life thanks to modern technologies, but they still do not know how to convey the emotions that I put into every word. Now it's important to be heard. My name is Nikolai Abashkin, I am a Soviet veteran. Born in the village of Rzaz, Ryazan region. Went through World War II and died in 1965. I am ashamed and bitter about what my descendants are doing. I fought for a peaceful sky and a bright future in my country and on the whole earth so that humanity would never again go through all the horror of war. He fought shoulder to shoulder with the Ukrainians and other friendly nations. Now I will try to convey to you my vision of modern Russia. Today it is clear that many problems have formed in Russia. It turned out for a long time, but it is worth listening to me to understand the reasons for the behavior of some Russians. The first problem is corruption. Putin, to retain power, has created a large-scale corruption system that is loyal to the bribery of officials who support him. Corruption is estimated at more than $80 billion a year. The real extent of corruption is impossible to calculate. The second is nepotism. Most posts in the state apparatus are occupied by interconnected people. And it is a fact that for the most part, they are untalented and unscrupulous scoundrels. Having received indulgence for any action pulling any desire for development to the bottom. The third is the poverty of the population. According to independent estimates, the share of Russians with incomes below $350 is about 70% of the population, given that Russia does not lag behind developed countries in terms of consumer goods prices. People live in sheer poverty, with many barely able to pay for their necessities. Fourth, fear. Since a repressive machine has been created in my country, which includes the police, the National Guard, and other law enforcement agencies, which have been given full carte blanche for torture, persecution, forgery, and other unpunished atrocities, most of society is shrouded in fear and simply prefers to silently agree with everything, not to notice the arbitrariness of power, to turn a blind eye to the problems of society in the state, so as not to be next. Fifth, humiliation and lack of will. All this affects the self-esteem of the common man. Humiliation in the offices of civil servants. When communicating with law enforcement agencies, at work, people are forced to endure the humiliation of superiors in order not to lose the low-paid job that they still have. Plus, thanks to the crimes and failures of the state, Russia receives a well-deserved response to its actions from the international community. It loses the Olympics, cultural events, international events, and humiliation increases. The sixth is propaganda. In the Russian media, there is almost no opinion that differs from the state. For many years they purposefully sowed seeds of hatred for the whole world, sticking out the imaginary greatness of Russia. A man in the evening, coming home from work, once again humiliated by another official, to drown out his thoughts on how to feed himself and his children tomorrow, turns on the TV and receives a portion of the pseudo-greatness of the country. At the same time, he can hate everyone, especially those who will be shown to him in programs with political debates, thereby letting off steam and feeling impunity for this. It is easier for an ordinary citizen to accept another nonsense and not even think that a better life is possible. Such a person does not care that the country could be developed because all the resources are there, but they are managed by the authorities, which the people did not legitimately choose. So, without noticing how this happened, many citizens of my country, turning off their brains from their thoughts, became Nazis. It's more convenient, not to stick out, to believe in the version that the majority thinks so and you need to do the same, fearing losing the last crumbs. I am outraged that everything I fought for was trampled down by the authorities of their mercenary desire, mixed with mud, and most importantly, they became so mad that they unleashed a senseless and monstrous war and break the fate of millions of Ukrainians, breaking the fate of their citizens. There must be still quite a few people in Russia who can think and are ready to stand against the war. They fight the best they can. They need allies who can support them and help deliver the truth to their blinded fellow citizens, so that the struggle is not invisible and meaningless, to effectively confront the regime. If you do not help them now, then soon they will be squeezed out of the country, imprisoned, or simply killed. And the population will become even more confident that everyone around supports the authorities. Now, this is not so. The threat to the whole world from the Russian authorities is incredibly high. Therefore, I ask people from other countries to help conscious Russians in this fight against war criminals in power. This tragic and senseless war will end. But, if the same non-humans remain in the government, an even poorer, more embittered, and unpredictable country of more than 100 million people, with nuclear weapons, imperial manners, and confidence that the whole world is against them, will remain a neighbor of many states of the world. It's scary to imagine what other hellish extremes they can go to. Separately, I want to thank the people who addressed the Russians, Boris Johnson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and others. We hear you. I wish all of us a peaceful sky over our heads, stamina, and courage.